Our approach to that starts by saying, where are people in need? And the truth is that's changed. In the last 30 years, we've seen a massive increase in the number of people in extreme poverty. That means living on less than $3 a day, living in what are called fragile and conflict-affected situations. From a situation in 1990 when about 10% of the world's extreme poor lived in fragile and conflict-affected states, places like Sudan, Gaza, Ukraine, to now over 50%, and by 2030 about 65% of the extreme poor will live in these conflict-affected states where governments don't reach and where civil society has to step forward. So point one, where do we work? Point two, what do we work on? We've got more and more good evidence, including from studies that this university has been involved with, about what works best in tackling the different problems. We have a very good evidence base, and we need to put the money behind those proven programs. One of the problems of the humanitarian sector is that every donor wants to reinvent the wheel. That's a problem. Thirdly, we've got to back cost-effective interventions. It's not problematic or sinful to think about how much something costs. It's the right thing to do, because we need to make sure that the dollar goes as far as possible. So at the International Rescue Committee, we're big on cost-effectiveness and cost efficiency, which is vital if we're to sustain the confidence of the public. I think there's one other point, which is that there are a range of aid instruments. I've been talking so far about grant aid, but there's also debt relief, there's also concessional finance, there are public-private partnerships in more stable places where there still are poor people, never mind extreme poor people. I think it's important to continue to be advocating an international financial system that supports those countries to develop in effective ways. I think the best messengers are not British men in suits. The best messengers are the clients that we serve and the staff who help them. Our approach to messaging is to use the words of the people who need aid, who benefit from aid, and who deliver aid. I think that's a really powerful way of connecting at a human level, because the truth is, when you hear the stories of the woman I met in Sudan whose husband was killed in the civil war and whose big hope for her life is that her kids go to university, that touches people in a really human way. Well, I think that the first job of university is to advance the frontiers of knowledge, to teach next generation of students. That's an important contribution, and the Keough School is holding high the flag for an international mindset, a rigorous mindset, an evidence-based mindset. That's really important. I also hope that you can partner with a range of non-governmental and other organizations so that the impact of your research, of your work, is spread wide, but also you bring your expertise to bear on what are still some very, very difficult problems. And the frontiers of knowledge always need advancing. How we use the technological revolution in places that are low-tech, that don't have high connectivity, that's a massive set of issues. Otherwise we're going to see that global inequality grows. And I think it's really important that we remember this is a world that's more connected than ever before. So if we're going to retreat into our bunkers, we're not going to do justice to the challenges that exist. Well, I think if the students I met are typical of the university, then the future's bright, because they were ambitious and they were committed and they were thoughtful. I think the key is not to feel that you have to change everything in order to do anything. And so if you want to make a difference, let's do it. Our approach at the International Rescue Committee involves a very strong bias to action. Action on the basis of clear planning, clear thinking, but a bias to action nonetheless. Doing something is always better than doing nothing.